Rick Carver is a ruthless real estate operator. His specialty? Evicting people from their homes the moment a court order hits his desk. And that's just the start. He's also knee-deep in shady property schemes designed to squeeze every last dollar of profit. One day, arriving to evict yet another debtor, Rick is met with tragedy. The homeowner pulls a gun and takes his own life. The man leaves behind a wife and children. The Carver doesn't flinch. His only concern is clearing the house as fast as possible. Meanwhile, friendly neighborhood builder Dennis Nash is fighting his own battles. Skilled and hard-working, he's just spent 2 weeks on a construction project, only to learn he won't be paid a cent. The client's financing fell through, the build was shut down, and all that work went to waste. Dennis has his own mortgage to pay, and the house is on the line. When money troubles hit, he turns to the bank for advice, and gets deliberately bad guidance. Trusting them, he skips payments for a couple of months, only to have the bank's lawyers pounce and take him to court. Dennis shows up at the hearing with his young son, Connor, pleading with the judge to let him resume payments and keep the home. But the judge, hardened by a daily flood of similar cases, refuses. Even the sight of a child about to be homeless doesn't sway him. Dennis is given 30 days to appeal, or face eviction. Living with his mother, Lynn, Dennis scrambles to find a lawyer who'll work cheap or pro bono. No luck. Work prospects are just as bleak. And then, the very next day, Rick Carver arrives at his door with a couple of cops in tow. The same ones who help him clear out deadbeat homeowners. Dennis insists he still has a month, but Carver waives the paperwork. The bank owns the house now. The Nashes get 2 minutes to grab essentials before Carver's crew dumps the rest on the lawn. Connor comes home from school to see it all, shocked and devastated. With nowhere else to go, Dennis moves his mother and son into a rundown motel full of other families in the same boat. He vows they won't be there long. He'll find work, earn the money, and get their home back. But no one's hiring. Then Dennis discovers his expensive construction tools are missing, stolen by one of Carver's workers. He storms into Rick's office, ready for a fight, but instead gets an offer, quick cash for a quick job. Desperate, Dennis agrees. The job turns out to be a nightmare, cleaning a house where the soon-to-be evicted owners sabotage the plumbing, flooding every room with sewage. Carver's crew refuses to touch it, but Dennis takes it on for $250. Rick pays up, and Dennis goes home with money for his family. Soon after, Carver hires him again, this time to fix wiring at his own house. Impressed by Dennis's skill, Rick offers him steady work. The pay is good, but the tasks are morally murky. Driving through a neighborhood, Carver spots a man illegally tapping into water and electricity at a foreclosed home. Dennis knows him, Frank Green, a friend whose kids play with Connor. Frank was in court the same day Dennis lost his house, and he's on the brink of losing his own. Dennis doesn't commit to full-time work with Carver at first. He starts small, stripping air conditioners and pool pumps from foreclosed homes, making them harder for the bank to sell. Carver profits, and Dennis gets a cut. He also delivers eviction notices, offering Carver's services to homeowners. Most slam the door in his face, though a few agree to cooperate. The work eats at him. He knows exactly how it feels to be on the other side of that door. But he needs the money to reclaim his home. Finally, Dennis saves enough to make a move. Carver proposes buying the house himself and selling it back to Dennis on installments. Dennis agrees, though it'll be weeks before they can move in. To seal the deal, Dennis must now handle evictions personally. Rick even offers him a gun for protection. Some homeowners fight back hard, but Dennis refuses. His first eviction is brutal. The same cops who threw his family out now help him force another family, with kids, onto the street.
Sorry, Mrs. Tanner. I don't want to do this today. I tried to avoid this. I'm sorry.
How do you live with yourself? You make me sick.
The sting fades only when Dennis finally steps back into his own home, the place he grew up, where Connor was born. But when Lynn learns Carver made it possible, she's furious. She wants nothing to do with that man. Dennis keeps doing evictions for Carver, meeting all kinds of people along the way. Some tenants have no idea they're about to be thrown out. Others are too old or confused to understand what's happening. Like one elderly man with no family or friends left in the city. The police arranged for the Red Cross to take him in, but the scene leaves Dennis shaken. With each eviction, the guilt grows heavier. One day, a debtor greets him with a gun.
I think I've made myself very clear to you. I don't want to see you again.
Shaken, Dennis finally asks Carver for a pistol. Rick is always armed. He's made plenty of enemies, gets constant death threats, and shrugs them off. Carver's backstory is one of clawing his way up from nothing. His father was a construction worker who died on the job, leaving the family with nothing. Now, Rick's eyes are on a massive payday. If they can process 100 more evictions, he'll land a contract for 1,000 homes. Dennis's cut could be at least $200,000. Rick urges him to forget about his old house and buy something bigger, better. Live large. Passing by Frank Green's place, Dennis stops to warn him about his upcoming court date. He's sure the judge will side with the bank and advises Frank to prepare. But Frank refuses to talk. He despises Dennis for working with Carver, knowing the shady deals they've pulled. Over time, Dennis stops seeing the work as wrong. He tells himself it's just money for his family, but they're still stuck in the motel. During Connor's birthday celebration, a new tenant recognizes Dennis and accuses him of being the one who evicted him. Dennis denies it, but the man spreads the word. Carver's henchman is living among them. Threats follow. Fearing for his family's safety, Dennis tells them to lock the door until he finds a new place. Then comes the big score. A lucrative contract born from their schemes. Drunk on celebration, Dennis admits to Rick that he's grateful. When he lost everything, Carver gave him a way forward. With the payout, Dennis buys a mansion and moves his family in. But Lynn immediately suspects the money came from evictions. When she learns Dennis sold their old home, she's furious. She'd rather move in with relatives than live in a house built on other people's misery. Connor sides with her. Soon, trouble hits Carver. Frank Green might actually keep his home. And if he does, it could trigger a chain reaction that kills their big contract. To stop it, Carver forges a backdated document and orders Dennis to deliver it to court. The judge will see it and rule against the Greens. Dennis hesitates outside the courthouse, but one of Carver's associates finds him and takes the envelope. The result? Frank's family loses their home. When Dennis returns to the mansion, Lynn and Connor are gone. Alone and drunk, he's woken the next morning by Carver. It's time to evict Frank Green. At Frank's house, neighbors gather. The familiar cops arrive to help. A neighbor warns them Frank is a hunter and may have guns inside. Dennis has left his pistol at home. When the eviction starts, Frank smashes a window and threatens the police. Convinced the ruling was illegal. Tensions rise. Someone could get hurt. Dennis steps forward and confesses. He delivered a forged document to the court. He says it because his conscience won't let him stay silent. Realizing Dennis is telling the truth, Frank lowers his weapon and surrenders. Police escort Dennis to a squad car as investigators turn their attention to Carver, now suspected of fraud. Sitting in the back seat, Dennis watches as his former boss faces the authorities.